Good morning, traders and potential traders. This is Nuke coming at you with another episode of Day Trading with Nuke. And this is going to be our morning watch list for Tuesday, November the 27th. It's going to be a relatively short watch list. I've got 6 tickers up on there: Apple, Tesla, Facebook, NVDA, AMD, and MU. That being said, let's jump right into this. Kick this pig and get it going. I'll tell you right now, I'm not super happy with the way the charts are starting off this morning. They're just a little, for the lack of a better way of saying it, I just feel they're a little sketchy. So I'm giving my best go at it right now. But this is definitely going to be one of the days where I'm going to be waiting later into the day, maybe an hour to 2 hours into the day, to really start going back in and looking at my charting unless something really starts to jump out at me. But Apple, we can see how it's been taking the big nosedive on the 4-hour chart. Zoom in a little bit, and you can see how that's basically been holding this real steady downtrend. But we might be doing a little bit of basing here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and map that out, even though it's not going to make it across on the chart. I want to put that in for myself. Should have seen that a little sooner, but I didn't. All right. So, oh, wow, look at that. Maybe Apple actually did. This chart has been just screwed up on my computer for a while. Anyway, what I'm looking at when it comes to Apple is this thing has got a lot of range to it, and I see it wedging down in here. If it breaks above this resistance line, I'd expect to see it could pop up to the 174.5 mark. And that's kind of where I'm leaning towards today if the SPY gets turned around a little bit and the techs kind of take off. On the high side, maybe you could see 178-ish out of it, 178.5. I really doubt it, though. I don't think you're going to see it break the pre-market high unless this thing starts to go parabobo, and I just don't think it's got the cojones. Now, if it doesn't get going, expect to see this thing drop on down below this current support line and probably follow down this trend of resistance here, riding this all the way down for the day. Yeah, probably. I doubt we'll see it drop all the way to the 160s, but probably 170 is not too far off of a conclusion to jump to there. All right, next up on our list is going to be Tesla. A little bit better, but still not enough information to chart it. So basically, I'm going to give you the fibs. Here's our voodoo line sitting at the 342, and then the pre-market high is currently sitting at 346. Pre-market low is currently at 337. And 100% fibs above is going to put us at 354. 100% below is going to put us at 329. Tesla kind of goes all over the place. So, yesterday was huge. I would expect today that we'll probably see it try and recover some of this gap from that giant growth tomorrow. And ironically, our 4-hour chart still has the EMAs stacked inverted, which is my 9, my 20, and my 50, telling me this thing is indeed still in a downward trend. So, I don't know. There's not enough data. We're going to chart it again later. I wouldn't expect to see prices drop below 329. And more likely, probably not even 334, but I do expect to see it recover some of this gap. If it decides to get off his ass and have another day like yesterday and rally, once it breaks this current, and God, I hate to even call it a downward trend line, because I just don't trust it at the moment. But if it were to break out of this current downward resistance and jump up, I would expect to see this thing, if it does do that, skyrocket, and up to the upside. All right, next up, let's see, Facebook. Facebook, another one, a little bit more charting data, but just going off of the fibs. We see the voodoo line here is at the 135.99. We got a steady downward trend for today, and then we had some nice layover lines, put us a support that's on the downward side. So you can also see on the 4-hour chart, it's definitely headed downward, has been. And then when we start getting into here, I guess I could have threw Yeah, let's go with something like that. So a little bit of support here just based off on the 4-hour chart. So what does that mean for you? What I would expect to see out of Facebook is bouncing down, coming into this triangle. And if it can break above the voodoo line, break out of the wedge to the high side, expect to see this thing come back and test the 135 or 138.50, excuse me. And then if it doesn't have the nuts to do it and the tech stocks decide to go on down with the news coming out today and stuff, then if that breaks down, expect to see it come down around the 133. So, but it does have great range of motion today. So, I mean, watch for it coming into this wedge. All right, next up, that is going to be NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA, a little bit better. I really this is one of the few I did kind of like the charting on so far. And it's with the tech stocks. It's been coming down, but recently it's had this little pop, this short-term layover trend line. You can see it shows like we're trying to gain some ground, and it's coming into a really nice wedge here right at the break of the morning. So NVIDIA is highly going to be on my radar. Pre-market high was at 153. If it can break this resistance, hit the voodoo, retest up in here, then I'd expect to see it wedge or jump on up, retest that pre-market high at 153, and then if it just decides to shoot on up, 156. If it breaks down to the low side and the SPY takes it with it, that's going to have a lot to do with it. Expect to see that this thing could easily retest the 150.11. Excuse me, guys. And then if it sees strong downward motion, it might go all the way down to 146.97. All right, next up, AMD. AMD is my darling. I have no idea why I love it so much because she treats me wrong. And you can already see she's kind of setting in those a little bit higher highs. So I don't put a ton of faith in this. She might be breaking out to the upside. We had a huge sell-off, had a cover pop on the 4-hour, and then a little bit of consolidation. And then what are we seeing? It was still on a downward trend, but we were popping. And today is basically at the top of one of these peaks. So if this thing breaks, I expect to see her break big. But in the event that she does get out and jump up above the voodoo line, you could see this thing hit the $20.50 mark. If it doesn't and it falls short because of the SPY or the tech start going down, I expect to see this thing come down around the 1932, just kind of take a face plant and slam on down. Now, if it passes that 1932 heading down, you know, when these tech stocks are slamming, they can drop like panties on prom. So it could possibly get all the way down here to the 1819, the 1850s, 1890s. Just depends, you know. But it's got really good range of motion, and I will have my eyes on it today. Last but not least, MU kind of came out of the blue yesterday. I was really excited about it. It's been in this downward trend on the 4-hour market, you know, and had a little bit of recovery last week, and then yesterday it just kind of popped down again. I would actually be expecting to see this thing try and travel back up towards the voodoo line. If it can break it, I'd expect to see it tap out at the pre-market high of the 36.60. And then if it follows down this low path, retest the 35.73. And if it just decides to take a face plant, come on down around the 34.86. But that's what I've got. That's what I'm looking at. Like I said, guys, one more time, and let me stop the screen share there. The big thing I see today is the charts just aren't the clearest, and that's probably got to do with a lot of yesterday's trading. It was kind of a little bit choppy. We made some great money on it, but it was choppy. So today looks like even more uncertainty in the charts, at least now. Take your time. Don't jump into anything. Let the charts develop. Sit there and wait on it. Let it come to you. Pick the best of the best, and that's what I got. I'll see you this afternoon with the daily recap. Oh, and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop some comments. Let me know what you think.